missed. Welcome back to another episode of My Legacy Garage, part 4 of the 55 series. If you watched the previous videos, you know we broke this latest video up into 2 segments because it was just too long. So if you haven't seen those videos, I encourage you to go back, take a look at them. If you have seen them, well, congratulations. Otherwise, you know, if you forget, you're a little hazy on the details, we're going to have a little recap that shows you what we've done to get the car to this point. Today, well, we're just going to polish it off and we're going to drive it. I know it's going to drive because we've already done it. So that footage is already shot. But, you know, like I said, that video was too long. Anyway, take a look at this recap and then follow along with the final steps to get her running and driving. This car was on Facebook Marketplace and I got a hold of the guy and he's like, hey, give me a call. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And I was talking to him and it was probably, I don't know, a half an hour I bet I talked to him on the phone. He didn't chop it, somebody else did. He's had it in his shed for like 20 years. Try it and see what it does. Oh, you know what? Probably need to put the fuel back up. That would probably be helpful. Sounds better now that the firing order's right. Lights right up. I'm probably going to immediately regret this. Progress has been made. It's time to see if we have any lights. Oh, got 2 headlights. There's smoke in that one, so that's probably bad. The car wouldn't shut off. It would start with the key, and you turn the key off, and it would stay running. So I figured out that must be the power lead to boost the voltage on cranking to start the engine. So I switched the red and the black, and the black is now on the main lug and the red is on right there, you can kind of see it, to provide power when it's cranking. And lo and behold, it's fixed. Well, that's more like it. So it starts, it shuts off. It appears some of the wiring works. I'm not sure what's going on with these marker lights, but maybe they're just burned out. All right, there is parts everywhere, and I sure don't see a fan anywhere. Might be paying the boneyard a visit. Well, how do you like that? It's got a shifter in it now. So I think it's gonna work. I put this piece of pipe on here. I'm gonna have to cut it to length after I figure out where exactly I'm gonna need it for the fuel up to the carburetor. Hey, that's not bad progress, honestly. We got the front accessory kit on it, all that, belt, the whole 9 yards. We got the alternator hooked up. It appears to work. We still need the radiator, heater hoses, and we need to sort the clutch out. And frankly, man, we're close. We're really close. We are finally back on the 55. I got the bracket in for the clutch and it works. It has the right size ball on it. It's the right bracket. Hallelujah. Miracles never cease. Long story short, I'm going to drive it today, one way or another. But first, there's a couple things we need to finish up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We have made significant progress. I can't remember exactly where I left off. I think we left off with putting a little heater hose bypass on there. Radiator is in, bolted fast. I do have the lower radiator hose on. It's hard to see, but it's there, I promise. We need to get a longer upper radiator hose, and then we need to get the coolant system all bled out and functional. And I have already put the piece for the clutch on, so the clutch is functional. However, the drive shaft is laying back here on the floor underneath of the car, so we'll have to put that on. So we'll jack the front end up, get it set back down, jack the back end up, put the drive shaft on, and then we should be good to go. Stay tuned. As you can see, the back is jacked up because we just got done putting the drive shaft on it. The needles had fallen down and it was a pain with the U-joint, and the U-joint's smoked. I mean, it's toast. It's probably got a 1/2 inch play in it, but good enough running around here, maybe up and down the road a little bit, just to see what happens with it. We got antifreeze in it, needs topped off still. We're gonna go ahead and get her lit up and get that coolant system circulating, making sure that's all good before we try and drive it, but I think we're ready. Just gotta sit her on the ground and fire it up. Here we go. All right, this thing hasn't been started in, I don't know, months probably, so let's see how this goes. Let's make sure it's out of gear first. Yep. All right. Just kidding, it doesn't want to stay running. Well, that's probably not a good sign, huh? Neither is the trail of tears all the way back up to the car and in the garage. Bummer. Hot get moved under its own power out of the garage, up and down the driveway a little bit, and then back into the garage because it's blowing oil everywhere, and I don't know for sure where it's coming from yet. I suspect maybe these valve covers aren't cinched down quite tight enough, and it's just that simple, but it was a lot of oil. I mean, like, kind of a lot. We're gonna have to dig into that and figure out what's going on. And it got a little bit warm. It got all the way up to about 200 per the temp gauge inside there, which is a little warm considering it wasn't really getting run around a lot or anything. And the fan and everything was running. May have an overheating problem we're gonna have to face down the road too. But for now, honestly, I'd just be happy if we could get it where I can drive it in and out of the garage, move it around as needed so that it's not, you know, in my way. Because I'd like to get something else in here and work on it too. I have a sneaky suspicion that these valve covers that were in the car aren't really made for this car. I think what I'm going to do is steal a set I have off of another engine somebody gave me that's laying over there. Put them on it and see if that doesn't seal it up. First, we got to take these old valve covers off. Let's just dig into it and get it done. It's definitely where the leak's coming from. And that was not cinched down all the way. Neither is this one. I'm wondering if these screws are just too long. Yeah, the oil's coming out of there. Maybe we just try some shorter screws first, yeah? We can do that. This here is an old Chevy 307 motor somebody just gave me. So let's steal screws out of it. The other thing I noticed is that this inside flange on this thing, it's not as deep. So I'm wondering if that isn't catching on the intake and not letting this thing pinch down on that gasket. If this doesn't work with just these shorter screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them, then what we'll do is take these valve covers and put them on and see if that does the trick. Let's see what comes of just changing these. It's definitely pushing down on that, but the gasket's really thick, so I feel like that should still be fine. Well, we need to put the hold downs in. Stupid! That would have sucked. Well, we have gotten all these bolts changed out. Now we're going to add some oil because it's about a quart low now. And this should tell us right away if we're going to have issues, because we're going to basically fill this valve cover with oil and then we're going to look and see if it's leaking out anywhere. Sure doesn't look like it. By golly, we may have solved that problem. Wouldn't that be exciting? Now that we've got oil in it, we've established it does not appear to be leaking. I would say it's time to hook the battery back up, light it up, let it run, and see what we can do about the overheating issue. Missed. All right, let's light her up. Got a little bit of noise. Sounds like it's coming from over there, almost like a rocker is tapping the bottom, like the oil splash tray and that valve cover. But it's real faint and it goes away with any kind of RPM, which is weird. Might need to dig into that a little bit. But for now, I think our oil leak problem is fixed. I think I want to back it out of the garage and see what happens. The tricky part with this is, you know, you got to hold on to the steering wheel and then push the clutch in, because if you don't, the seat just slides back because it's not bolted in. Well, that's intriguing. There you have it, folks. She runs, she drives, yard drives anyway, brakes work. It's pretty good. That carburetor's meh, combined with the fuel that's a little meh. Doesn't run the greatest, if I'm being honest. But it runs, and it moves, and it's out of the garage, which means we can get the next project in there, which is a short-term project, one y'all have seen before, so make sure you stick around for that. If you like this video, please make sure you go hit that like button, and if you disliked it, make sure you hit the dislike button twice. Make sure we really understand. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps us out, and we really appreciate it. And we appreciate you all that watch and support us. Couldn't do this without you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.